Welcome to another episode of the Good Samaritan, hosted by me, Dr. Monique Lynch. And my special guest today is Honorable Dr. David Naboare from Ghana. Welcome. Did I spoil your name?
Yes, that's
Nice
correct.
to meet
Thank you very much. And you rightly mentioned the name. Yeah.
Great. So, okay, David, share with us your childhood journey and how do you think it has contributed to your professional journey today?
Okay. Yes. Thank you, and a very good moment to all your listeners and viewers across the globe. Yes, once again, I'm David Naboare from Ghana. I'm a mental health practitioner by profession, and yes, I happen to come from one of the newly created regions that Ghana has just created a couple of years ago. That is in the Oti region, and the community I come from is Ofosu in the Nkwanta South municipality. So my childhood journey began from that very community on that very fateful day of 15th May 1988, where the two parents brought forth this young man sitting right here being interviewed. Yes, so growing up in that community, education was an issue. The predominant occupation of the community folks then was virtually farming. So at that time, you could actually count the number of houses that were roofed with iron sheets. And I once slept under thatch roof before, I remember. Yes, so life was not as it is today because water was a problem. There was no electricity, and you could virtually see a motorable road. So even now, as the roads are getting better, then in the early 1990s, when I grew up, it was difficult even when you want to access healthcare, going to the municipality to access healthcare in the municipal hospital. So growing up, I think my father was a peasant farmer, likewise my mom. So they were both farmers. And I'm also from a family of a sibling of 8. I'm the 4th born. So yes, I grew up seeing education, and all that my father and mom told me is to do my best when I get to school and study hard. So yes, the farming, I used to follow my dad on weekends and also after school. But I think most of my focus was on the studies, and also football was my hobby then. So at my basic level, I think I was a footballer, of which I played number 6. That is central midfielder, right?
Right.
Yes, if my memory will set me right. So I actually liked football then before I went into senior high. So my community now, I will come there when I superintended upon them as the assembly member in 2015 to 2019. My community then was under a catalog of communities that were being administered under a chief and also an assembly member before we got our liberation. So Ofosu as a community now, a population of, if not mistaken, will be close to over 8,000, getting to 9,000 thereabouts. So it's a big community now.
Yeah.
Yes, and cluster of I can say most ethnic backgrounds, but the most predominant and the most populated ethnic group there, of which I come from, is the Konkomba ethnic background. So the Konkombas are the majority in that community. We have the Adeles, we have the Cabres, then we have some Ewes and what have you. So yes, so in that community, you could see that we only speak our local languages and also some form of some tree to some extent. So it was hard to speak English then. I think I started speaking English at basic 3 or something like that, because everything was like you just have to go to school, come home, and you play, and sit down. Yes. So I never attended KG. I went straight to class 1. And I think my first year in school, I was flogged by a teacher and I have to drop. So after dropping, the next year, my mom pursued on me with my dad, and they have to put me back to school. By then, my senior brother, who is late, was already in the upper primary going to JHS. So I have nothing to do than to just go there. But I think if I would talk much, somewhere basic 5, I was actually one of the good students in class or pupils in class. But I think a close friend of mine dropped, who was like an uncle's son. So when he dropped from school, I told my dad that very morning that, Dad, I don't think I'll go to school anymore. Today my ear is paining me, tomorrow my mouth, tomorrow that's my head. So then I said, finally, I'll not go to school again. My father looked at me and then he said, wow, is that so? Then he said, he's begging me. I should complete only basic school for him. If I complete basic school and I want to farm with him so that we take care of our siblings, he's ever ready. So I think he called in an uncle who was much, I can say, stronger than my dad in terms of discipline. So I think, yeah, they pressed on me and I have to dress up that morning, go back to school. And I became the assistant school prefect for my basic school in 2003. And I had the best grade for that very year, went to SHS. And that was where the life journey began. So after my basic education, my dad then asked me that day when the result came, he said, David, I said, Dad, I learned you are the one who had the best grade. And I said, yes. Even that morning when we went to check our results, and he said, there was no internet, so the headmaster has to actually go through your scripts and call your grade for you and give you your results slip. So I said, wow. So I started to jump. So I came home and my dad asked me whether I would go to school or I would farm. Then I said, no, this one day I'll go back to school. And he laughed. So I see that growing up, in fact, my parents who couldn't have the opportunity to have formal education, they saw the light in putting almost all their kids into formal education because they were seeing that was the order of the day. And I think my very family in the community has been fortunate to be one of the communities that has also seen education early in the community. And if not that my late brother left us early, I can say that there were some of the people who were pioneers when it comes to going to school, pursuing some courses, becoming teachers, and what have you. So, yes, so I decided that almost everybody was going into teaching. When I get to my profession, I'll say much there. But I think the community has actually shaped me to understand that I was a very strong kid because I always see life to be something that I have to face it from that point. And one thing I did even as a child was that I never sent my homework to my senior brother who is late now then to even help me. I told myself that I am even better than him. That was a challenge I threw to myself. Though he was older than me, I said I will do my assignment. Even if I get 0, I like it. And on the farm, we'll be learning, come to the house, we'll be learning, and it actually promotes the way we put issues. And he was that unifier too. Whatever you are saying and it's not right, he will correct you. That is how I get to know that, no, you need to learn from the old folks. So yes, this is what has actually been my life journey in terms of my community. So born on that fateful day, I think I know nothing how I came by those parents, and I think I must just acknowledge them for taking seed of my very personality and not aborting me, keeping me for 9 months. And in fact, I want to share this issue too. That very day I was born, my mom told me when they gave birth to me, almost some hours I was not breathing and hospital was far. So they nearly buried me when I was asphyxiated. So when they were thinking about going to bury me because there was like no sign of life, they ought to look for other local means to be able to see whether I can actually come to life. So if you see my forehead here, you can see some 3 marks. The chief of the town actually gave me those marks that very day. And I think my mom said they put some herbs there. I don't know, Then from there, they went to bring some other herbs from, I think, the farm. They use it on my body. And that was when I began to cry, and my mother saw that no, there is life in this small boy, therefore they must. And I think I have to just acknowledge that very chief that is no more, together with all nursing mothers and all old ladies some are still alive today in my community, that if not their knowledge then, like by now, I would not have been here. So I acknowledge that for that first day of my life, that they never gave up. They pressed on. They were like medical officers in the village, and they said no, they will do something for this neonate or this child that is yet to not just see life. And they did all that they could, and today I am sitting here. So my mom never joked with me. Whatever I do, my mom said, no, David, take your time. You are dear to my heart because of the pain I went through that very day. So, yes, kudos to my mom and kudos to whoever took care of me that very day. So, this has been my life journey, childhood. Yes, and also in my community, growing up, I think I was somebody who was like almost everywhere with my peers, and wherever you go and you mention the name, yes. And also, I have a family name. That one was not recorded when I was doing my registration. So, yes, along the line, I'll pronounce it, and that name actually defines me. And in my local language, when they mention that name and you actually understand the Lepapan language, it means a lot to humanity. And that is just the work I am doing today. So I think whatever our parents did for us, they know why they did that. We should appreciate them for that. In fact, my culture played a role to making me who I am today, the people around my community and whoever. So yeah, this has been my childhood. And you can see, like my mom told me, I used to also do some small quarrels with friends. So some marks on my face, But I think it's okay because in such a community, it's like you go out, always reports are coming to your parents, not like now. Always my father is being confronted that David has gone to do this, David has gone to do that. And it was like, why? So yes, those ones I grew up with, they knew me then. I hardly forgive them time, but I think it was childhood behaviors. If you do something and I get offended, I have to follow you up to wherever you are going to, even if you are stronger than me, until you overcome me. I don't give up. And it has actually been something I think moving into other spheres, developing that aspect of my life in my youthful ages and also back in adolescence. I think it has shaped me. And also, my mom told me never to look at women then time because my focus was to only study. So, basic school, SHS, I never know what taking a boyfriend or a girlfriend or whatever was. No, I don't go out. I always learn 4 to 6, go to school, sweep, fetch water. Yes, and I help my mom in the household chores. Though in a typical culture that I come from, meals actually is hard if you are not in the educational sector to do those chores then time. But I was committed to help my mom and also to show that she matters in whatever that we all need as a family. And my siblings, they were laughing as at today. Yes, I think, and in my culture, even if a female is your elder and you the male come later, the male is the elder because they will go and marry, leave you still in the house. And automatically, the male, even if you are the last born, most of times you are seen as the elder of the family and you need to comport yourself such. So this has been what I went through. Yes, and I'm still going through some of them. So I think whoever has not heard the story of David, this is how I grew up from Ofosu in the Nkwanta South Oti region, Ghana, West Africa, Africa, and to the world. So, yes.
So, David, you have received an honorary doctorate in arts and leadership in community development by Yahweh Hills in South Africa. Now, share with us, upon receiving this milestone, what significance did it hold for you?
Thank you very much. I think in the year 2010, when I finished my nursing, I decided to come back to my municipality and serve. So I started to serve in that municipality, that is the hospital, from 2010 to 2014. Then in 2014, I went back to college to do some mental health course, which was a year program. So after coming back, I need to do an internship. So I think during the internship, I was much, and it was during that time that I contested for the assembly member election, like a local election. in my community where I was born. And having served my people in the hospital and also being seen in the community and in the municipality, they decided to give me the opportunity by voting for me. I can say it was so much, and that day I will never forget, because yes, my community service actually started long, but they voting for me that fateful day in 2015. Yes, it actually shaped me, and serving my people as an assembly member. I think some international bodies, some other persons who were close to me, and also entering into mental health, helping people, doing health education, establishing a local organization, the NGO. Yes, persons who are close to Yahweh Hills University taught it wise that we need to identify this young man in that village. No other village but Ofosu, to be precise, and no other person, Honorable David Naboare. Yes, and they honored me in that doctrine. But yes, you know something, I was happy receiving the award, but unfortunately, I traveled with other people who knew me. My family was far, they couldn't come, and I was not in any relationship to them. So, though I received the award that day, but I felt lonely because I wish I would have had somebody behind me as like a lady, so that you feel like you are belonged. Yeah, but I received that alone. But friends who were around actually have to join me. And I think taking that award was one of the best moments. They reading my profile, people listening to me at that age. Now, think that was 2, 3 years ago. Yes, 31, 32. Yes, it was so marvelous. And I was the youngest among the awardees. So you can see that if I hadn't done much in the community, and in fact, if you go to my municipality and OT region, wherever you can find whoever is known around, and you ask, do you know this person called David Naboare? I don't think you need a torchlight to identify me. Yes, because of what I do. I'm present on social media. I am present also on physical issues, and I solve community problems. And like those times, I serve on almost I think 5 committees, 4 committees at the assembly, 2 as committee chair. Yes, but before then, I went into a presiding member election of which I couldn't win. I think that was the point that actually shot my 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 presence on the landscape of going high, because everybody was asking, who is that young guy who has come to actually contest an election, and it was so tight like that. So I think some of us, though we are not politically affiliated as such, but we can do much when it comes to issues on development, when it comes to issues of what the community need. And I think these are the people who needs to get into the political sphere and champion the cause of development. So Yahweh Hills identified me as a young man doing well in the community, health, education, youth empowerment. I was doing marvelous and still doing marvelous. They say, no, let's award this guy for this particular doctrine. That was how I was given this award. And in fact, before I was even selected, I didn't know that something like this was happening. Someone just called that they wanted to evaluate my CV, and I said, for what? They said they want my CV. I said, okay. So I sent my CV. Then I think a team also came around to interview some people around whether they knew me. Then finally, yes, I was part. And we're only 5 that time that were awarded. So I think, yes, God is wonderful, because if that, I wouldn't have been identified. There are a lot of young people equally like me. I'm not saying I'm perfect or I'm extremely good, but I was one of the young persons that was chosen. Then after me, several others were chosen and awarded as such. So you can see that, yes, the award came surprisingly. I received it wholeheartedly, and it has also impacted my life, because being honored from a South African university is not easy. And I think I have to thank the university management and those in Ghana, the reps, friends, colleagues, co-workers, my directors, for shaping me to who I am. I always say that wherever I find myself, the influence I have, how I will be able to go far, determine on the people around me. I don't leave anyone behind. So my actions and inactions, their actions and inactions can impact onto my life, and it has impacted onto my life as I'm here. So the award, I can say, is one of the top notch I am holding now, and I am okay with that. Using it, doing whatever I want to do. Yes, it's also not an academic qualification, it's an honorary qualification. So yeah, I know when to use that and when not to use that.
So, ladies, let me just highlight the thing that you heard a long time ago. He's single. He is single. So all of you guys want or interested, you can DM me. You can leave in the comment box below that you're interested, and I'll hook you up. So, David, you have an impressive body of work in mental health, in education, in youth development. What has been your inspiration to venture into mental health specialization? Because you and I both know that there's not enough persons that are in the mental health field, and that a lot of countries, a lot of organizations, and people on the whole don't normally think of mental health as a priority area of specialization.
Thank you very much. Having to work at the ward as a general practitioner in the nursing field, I saw a lot of issues on the ward, ranging from medical ward, surgical emergency, theater, maternity. So I have great experience when it comes to the cases that come to the hospital, what happens to people when people lose their loved ones and what have you. So yes, my interest in mental health, I can say I will trace it back to my background, in the sense that, yes, my very uncle, my maternal side, who happened to follow my mom directly, was actually, shall I say, murdered or assassinated by somebody in the community. So growing up, a very promising farmer, having a lot of resources, for no reason, somebody followed him up on the farm and killed him. Why? I couldn't understand growing up, coming from school, hearing that news. So it was a blow to the family, because he used to come to mom, we know him, and I was like, why would people have this kind of thoughts? So, that then time too, I wasn't having much knowledge when it comes to what actually happens to the brain in terms of decision making. So I happened to work on the ward, seeing people going through a lot of issues. I begin to ask myself, in terms of grieving, in terms of going through chronic illnesses. Yes, and this particular incident struck me more on the ward in the surgical unit. I was there an evening, then a patient was rushed in. He has, I think, maxillofacial dislocation, almost the maxilla, the mandible, all of them, they were dismantled. When I took the history, the incident happened in the prayer camp. This patient was actually a normal person who went to the prayer camp to visit the brother who was mentally challenged. And the brother, upon seeing him, I don't know what actually happened, never made any sign. The mentally challenged person became aggressive. The normal person who was rushed to the ward was sleeping then. And he just went for a wooden pistol and smashed the jaw of the brother. And that was what happened that very evening. So we need to intubate this man. And I was the one who could accompany that case to the regional hospital. So I was asked by my matron to accompany, giving oxygen for the next 2-3 hours. It was not easy, but the energy was there. David was young, and David can go extra mile, Yes, I started work at the age of 21. So there is great experience from my point here. So I've been working for the past 12 years. I'll come there. So yes, having had that experience, I thought, no, something is actually happening to our community. So when it got to our time for us to advance our studies, I went to my management that I want to venture into mental health, specifically community mental health. Then my management was like, you are good on the ward, you handle most of the surgical emergencies, and suturing, I was very good because I joined the surgeons, whoever, then we do suturing, minor cases, I support them, and they were like, why would you divert? You are good here. Then I said, no, I have a focus. What is happening to our community? We actually need advocacy. We need to serve the message out there so that we try to work on issues of mental health. So that sent me to the College of Health where I studied mental health. And when I got there, I began to vie for leadership, led the class as a course rep, represent the class as representative for the class in terms of student parliament. Then I went ahead to also become a finance committee member, and I was very vocal on the floor of parliament for the student body. So coming out to do my internship, I said no. I was at the mental health unit. That was where the work began. I said, wow, we were entering communities, going on radio, visiting people, talking to people who understand the message. You see, the human brain is so complex that you might not know, even you yourself, some functions that the brain engages from moment to moment. Because if you ask me the way I even communicate, I don't know. It is from my brain. So some are voluntary, others are involuntary. Some you will not know, but it happens. Yes, menstruation, what have you, all these things from the brain. Yes, so yes, I said no, I have to work on this issue of the brain. And that is why I joined. And not just that, I want to be a communicator, an advocate, someone who will be there 24/7 to assist people, train people, and tell people that no, we ought to change our modus operandi. We ought to look at this issue from our cultural perspective, from our orientation, from an individual perspective, so that we'll be able to know what we can do in terms of the mental health needs of individuals, family, and the community. You know, the individual find themselves in the family find themselves in the community. So whatever happens in that particular, I can say a chain, the entire system is affected. So being a community mental health person, I look at the mental health of every individual. And that was why I got here. And in fact, not only in my municipality, from there, I contested for the presidency for community mental. I was elected and he shut me up. So not only in Oti region, but the entire country, I'm the national president for community mental health officers. And also, not that, maybe when we come to my portfolios, yes, I also serve as the secretary to Council of President, Allied Professions Council, and many more. So I think I do not have that, should I say, entire opportunity to say, I can be given what position at what point in time. But when people see your capacity, they will surely give you the opportunity to lead. And this is why I am here. And in my district here, where I work currently, I've just been reassigned. Massive work is shaking underground. And I am going to the churches, I am going to the schools, I am entering the mosques, I am going to the chiefs, I am going to the youth groups, the lorry stations, the markets. That is where the problems are. When you sit in the clinic, the cases will never come. Let's go to them. Let's understand their problem so that when you even talk to somebody, your talk will be therapy. That is what I am saying. So when you listen to David and you are even angry with David, when I communicate to you, I have to communicate on the line that even if I propose to you, you must agree to my proposal as a woman. That is my philosophy. And even if I bring the message of mental health, you must understand my message of mental health. Able to work in the sense that your work will transform the way you used to look at issues on mental health and how people see mental health issues to be. We want to erase that old tradition, old styles, that is spirituality, so we are not into that. We are saying that a lot goes into mental health, and that those things that go into mental health means a lot. Your nutrition, your physical health, the relationship you had with your community, your work, your salary, your emotional being, everything makes up you. And even the way your brain chemistry works. Yes, so we have to look at all this. And this actually brought me onto the limelight of mental health advocacy. And I know you didn't find it difficult to even identify me when we met the first time. You saw it from that. No, this guy is one of the people you can work with. And I don't sell myself as salt, but I think we have all done our best when it comes to mental health advocacy. And whenever I speak, I make friends. Whenever I get the opportunity to speak, I don't know, maybe if people are watching us live now or they watch later, some will DM me and look for my contact and become friends.
And it will be in the description below. I will definitely post it. So David, as the president of the World Mental Health Forum, also the first African Mental Health Congress, and the several other projects that you have undertaken, what are the implications of global healthcare in terms of mental health?
Thank you very much. When you talk about global perspectives, that is what I always see when it comes to mental health. I think we are still short-changed in that regard. When I say we are still short-changed in that regard, I don't think when we're looking at the financing for health in respective countries at the global front, mental health is still not funded as it's supposed to be. The attention relevant departments, stakeholders, ministries should have given to mental health. To me, Ghana and also other countries that have even, I'm looking at their policies and also funding for mental health. It's woefully nothing to write home about. Let's say you're tackling issues on maternal mental health or maybe issues on reproductive health, and you neglect mental health. You are not tackling the entire system of health in terms of what you are looking at. So I think managers and persons who matter in the sphere and the scope of healthcare should prioritize mental health. In fact, health without mental health is meaningless, because when you look at the definition of health, mental health is categorically stated and it cannot be taken out of the definition. So if you are a minister of health, if you are a CEO for any department on the continent of Africa, in the Caribbean and around the world, or even an organization, and you don't prioritize mental health. In fact, me and you, or you and I sitting here at this time, having this interview, if you are not at the right frame of your mind, there's no way you can interview me.
True.
Yes. So even going to work on other areas of health, and you don't look at the mental health of those people, of those sectors, then I think we ought to re-examine whatever policies we have in this particular world. Just look at what COVID-19 did to the whole world. Look at the conflicts from Ukraine. Look at in our own ethnic. Look at the disasters we have now. All these things are boiling down to the mental health of the people. In fact, people in terms of hunger, in terms of poor sanitation, in terms of poor health, and whatever. And even when you look at the SDGs, SDG 3 categorically mentioned good health, of which mental health is embedded in that. Wow. So, you know, Agenda 2030, it will be very difficult. And when you do mental health, I think they need people who can help them redevelop, redesign policies to be mental health oriented and have mental health sensitive. Because I was just looking at the mental health of the church. I met church leaders and I shared it with criteria and what do we have to look at. You can see that there are a lot of people who have mental health issues. Let's come to families, let's come to the workplace. So you can see that almost every organization needs a mental health policy. That mental health policy, that is a national policy, cannot even be factored in when it comes to individual perspective, family perspective, community, and culture. So all that should be done is that persons who matter, like some of us and you, should be contacted by big-time organizations and be funded to develop mental health policies to be able to look at workplace mental health. If you have an organization, and you want to look at the mental health of your workers, you need a very sensitive mental health policy, because someone working in the mines is different from someone working in the education, and someone working in probably healthcare is different from someone working in manufacturing. So you have to look at how different these persons work and be able to develop policies to address their mental health needs. Relationship problems can be factored in, whatever, but the occupation of the people, the profession of the people should be taken into consideration. So yes, a lot is still not being done. That is my fundamental issue I am laying here. Yeah. A lot is not done. We still have a long way to go, of which some of us are dedicating ourselves that when we are brought onto the table, World Health Organization, yes, should come on board. That is why some of us are coming out with the regional organizations, the African Mental Health Association that has just been constituted, the World Mental Health Forum that has also been constituted. We want these organizations to look at how do we address mental health issues on a global perspective, on a global platform, transforming it down to be able to be fitted into an individual scope, so that whoever gets into whatever situation will benefit from whatever policy that is being run. So World Health, they are doing a lot in terms of mental health and psychosocial support and what have you. But we still need a lot of policies to be designed. The bankers, whatever, they all need mental health policies. And they need counseling centers, mental health counseling centers in every department. Could you imagine some physiotherapy centers, some prosthetics and orthotic centers do not have mental health unit? Someone who is going for amputation, someone who is going for prosthetics does not have access to psychosocial, mental health, or psychological counseling, and what I don't get it. You see, so mental health is something we need almost 24/7.
So, all right, so at this time we're going to take a short break and we will be back. Welcome back to the Good Samaritan. The Good Samaritan, no strings attached. Here with me is Honorable Dr. David Naboare, and we are just going to continue the conversation. So, David, what are some of the projects that you currently have going on?
Yes, the project as I have is the first one is the Naboare Pre-University College, of which we run a series of programs. We want to see how best we can bring mental health care to the people, even if you are not in Ghana. And we're doing online mental health master classes. We also want to see how best we can help the young people who have problems with their grades from the senior high level get into the university. So we run some pre-university courses for them. Then in this particular era, we having some issues on IT. People are actually not having the knowledge in that. We want to teach them to have some knowledge in ICT also. That is the pre-universities project. But besides that, at the master class, we run a catalog of 17 distinct reproductive mental health. You want to study reproductive, you just have to choose one of the specialty areas and enroll into for 2 months. Then the organization, African Mental Health Association, the Naboare Foundation, also an NGO into mental health, and World Mental Health Forum, together with the pre-university, will give you your certificate after completion. So the program is currently underway, depending on your interest. So notwithstanding, I also run some community advocacy programs whereby I meet people one-on-one and I train them. So if you can come on for the physical basis, we encourage you to come so that you see me in class, you join my class, you take assignments, then you get to go. We want to do that way so that people get to understand. Draw the human brain, let them know how the brain functions and what have you. Let them know when the brain is diseased or is compromised so that they will understand what actually goes on. So we have a big project. That project, I can say that we want to revolutionize mental health on the continent of Africa and to the world, where mental health will become a core component of our educational system, the healthcare system, and departments and workplaces. So with that mental health, I think some facilities shouldn't be given even accreditation. But in Ghana, almost some health centers have mental health unit. That is our community mental health approach, and it is helping us a lot. People need not travel far distances to access mental health care. Yes, so we are not actually there, but we are almost getting there. They are trying, but it's about funding, where our government is still not funding mental health as is supposed to have funding. So my project, I think, being a relevant stakeholder in mental health, I want to support the system. That is my project, supporting the system in terms of mental health needs. When you have a peaceful mental health community, in terms of peace, everything is there. In terms of healthcare, everything is there. In terms of employment, everything will be there. The mindset of people to even create their own jobs is from here.
So any plans for World Mental Health Day coming up on October 10th?
Wow, a big project. We are summoning the people in the region and those from Accra, the whole of Ghana, and even those outside Ghana to join us in the OT region on Kwanta South municipality. We are hosting one of the biggest programs that has never happened before. And we were dancing people from all over the region to attend. And we want people to come. Yes, they should come.
This will be a conference or?
Yes, like a one-day summit, but you can join virtually as well. It's going to be powerful.
Okay, yes. So I will drop the information below. So for persons who are interested in attending, the information will be in the description box below.
We design as well.
Right. Right. So, in terms of outside of your professional feat and your voluntary feat, your community level feat, what are some of the things you do outside of that to just relax and to promote mental wellness?
I'm not getting you right.
So I'm saying outside of all the stuff that you do, what are some of the things that you do to promote mental wellness for yourself?
Oh, I think if you watch my status right now, I just call a friend in after work. We had our lunch, then we dance more. I dance, I listen to music, I swim. I also walk and I jog, I exercise. This actually makes me feel good. Then I write. When I write, I feel good. I read, I feel good. So, and I take a very good shower at the end. That will let me relax. Yes. I don't take anything to induce me sleep. Whenever I want to sleep, I prepare my mind and I sleep. So for my mental health, these are the things I do. Good nutrition, the thinking, I reduce it. Things I cannot address, I leave them because I cannot face them. Right. I don't worry myself. I feel good. Wash my things, dress neatly, and I should just be gentle. Yeah, this makes me feel good, you know. Yes, my haircut, everything. You see how I'm looking this time?
Sharp.
Very neat, you know. Yeah. So these things all make me feel good in terms of my mental. Drink a lot of water. Yes, exercise. Yes, I don't talk too much, and when I go on social media, I write whatever comes in mind. And I also communicate not to hurt people. I don't ask people, when will you get married? When will you give birth? Those questions are questions that hurts.
Right.
Yes. Yes. So this makes me feel good. When I see in a problem, I get closer and also see how best I can assist. And that one alone gives me some kind of mental relief. I see, oh, I have helped this person today. That's fine. Yes. And I also talk my feelings. When I meet you and I think, Whatever bothers me, I say it. I say it.
That
I
is
don't care
true.
whether you tell a party, but I
That
know
is
the information I tell you. Yeah.
all right. So we come to the end of this episode. I want to thank you, David, for all the work that you do. I know we met on a mental health platform and we've established a good professional relationship since that time. I must commend you on the awesome work that you're doing in Ghana. You are definitely the definition of a good Samaritan, you know, trying your best with limited funding, because I understand that more than anyone else, how much you pour into people, how much you care about people, and everything that you do is for other persons to be the best version of themselves. So I must congratulate you on that. And thank you so much for honoring my request for this interview, just to show the world how special you are and how much you are serving your community. And if anyone out there wants to support the work that David is doing in Ghana in terms of mental health, community mental health, his information will be in the description box below. Please remember to like, to share, to subscribe, to comment, share with a friend, and share with another friend. Thank you so much for joining today, The Good Samaritan, no strings attached. Thank you.